Think. If you're speaking to senior leaders and you want to sound confident, this is how you do it. This is the difference between being seen as a strategic leader or an intern who wandered into the room. So here are 3 quick swaps to sound more credible in meetings. Instead of, I think we should, say, I recommend we. You don't think, you lead. Recommend like someone who's done their homework. Instead of, maybe we could, say, it's important that we, because nothing says ignore me faster than maybe. And finally, and this one's a top offender, instead of, does that make sense? Say, I'm happy to answer any questions. One invites clarity, the other begs for approval. Small shifts, big differences. Try these in your next meeting and let me know how it goes. A person who has the courage to be disliked is the freest person in the room. Most people are tangled up in performance, trying to be agreeable, trying to win approval, trying to keep the peace. But the person who lets go of all of that, they are untouchable because they already know the truth. No matter how carefully you move, someone's going to disapprove. So instead of living for applause, they live for alignment with their values, their boundaries, their direction. Here's why that's powerful. You can't guilt them into saying yes when they mean no. You can't bribe them with validation they don't need. And when they feel disrespected, they'll walk away without a backward glance. That kind of clarity is magnetic. And here's the irony. When you stop contorting yourself to be liked, people actually respect you more. Confidence isn't about being agreeable. It's about being anchored. The person who doesn't fear being misunderstood or disliked has already stepped outside of everyone else's control. That's not arrogance. That's freedom. And it's one of the most dangerous and liberating powers that you can build. I don't know who in the corporate world needs to hear this today, but the best women I've ever worked with, almost every single one of them was labeled as difficult. And you know who usually gave them that label? Men, especially men in leadership. Because here's what difficult really meant. She asked the questions nobody else had the guts to ask. She gave feedback that was honest, correct, and on time. She didn't just sit there and let everyone else's mess get dumped in her lap. And she refused to be the cleanup crew for problems nobody else wanted to own. For men, those traits get called ambitious, driven, a go-getter. For women, it's difficult. So let me be crystal clear. I'm giving a shout out to every so-called difficult woman in the workplace. You're the ones keeping things running, and we need more of you. So if you've carried this label, drop difficult in the comments to show up for all of us. Let's be honest. People are going to test your boundaries. And if you don't know how to respond, you end up either staying silent and stewing or reacting in a way that gets you labeled as difficult and probably in trouble at HR. Neither one of those works. So here are the 3 phrases that put you back in control. They are calm, direct, and professional. First, what was your intention with that comment? It's simple, but it flips the spotlight right back on them. Suddenly, they have to explain themselves instead of you defending yourself. Second, if there's feedback on my work, I'd prefer we share it with me directly. That line shuts down gossip and makes it crystal clear that you expect conversations to stay professional, not whispered behind your back. And finally, let's keep this conversation respectful, the same way that I'm doing with you. This one is powerful because it calls out the tone without escalating. You set the standard and model exactly what you expect. Here's the thing. Standing up for yourself at work doesn't mean being rude. It means holding the line with confidence. And when you do, people learn quickly that you are not the one to test. What people think about you is none of your business. I know. That sounds so cliche. But let's be real. Most people are projecting their own insecurities onto you anyway. Their opinions are all based on their lens, their limitation, and their story, not yours. You could be the kindest, most capable, most grounded person in the room, and someone will still find a reason to criticize you. That's not feedback, that's noise. The truth is, the moment you stop performing for approval, you get your power back. You start making decisions from confidence instead of fear. You start focusing on alignment instead of applause. So let them think what they want. Let them whisper, roll their eyes, or make their little comments. Because you're not here to manage their opinions. You're here to manage your potential. And the people who truly matter, they'll see you clearly without you having to explain a single thing. Now, if this resonated for you, I want you to write, "I feel seen," in the comments. Let me be blunt. I don't care what they said in the interview. They told you they wanted fresh perspective, innovation, a culture shift. But the second you started doing the job they hired you for, you're met with resistance, roadblocks, and eye rolls in every meeting. Here's the truth. Some workplaces are addicted to chaos. They say they want change, but they really just want someone new to survive the same mess. If you're trying to lead in a system that refuses to evolve, stop wasting your energy trying to rescue it. You weren't hired to fix people who don't want to be better. You were hired to lead. And if leadership isn't actually welcome, you've got one job. Recognize it, then start planning your exit. Because real leaders don't set themselves on fire to keep dysfunction warm. You've seen a lot of my videos. I like them, but who am I? That's a really great question. Eric Garcia, 423. So my name's Linda Harvey. I have been managing for over 20 years in corporate management, and I have been a manager of managers for 10 years of that. I also have a master's degree in management and leadership and going through the process of applying for my PhD for management and leadership. So I feel fairly qualified to talk to people about leadership and management, and I feel really qualified to train people in leadership and management because I have spent a good portion of my life doing those things and training people and teaching people how to be better leaders and better managers. And I have like an actual degree in management and leadership. So that's why I feel pretty qualified to do what I do and teach what I teach and create a community where I train people. If you want to become the kind of woman no one can shake, start here. And by the end of this video, you are going to be unstoppable. The most magnetic women aren't loud. They're not trying to clap